From the perspective gained from personal experience, Anyssa will share the most influential ingredients to being a leader.
Both of my parents are first-generation immigrants. My father is from Tunisia, and my mother is from Cuba. Because of this, they've always worked their hardest to give me and my siblings the best opportunities possible. My mother's always told me, to whom much is given, much is expected. During my high school career, I've become a very involved member of my community. I was president of my class for 2 years, and this year, I'm student government president, Model UN president, and I'm always assisting at school events. As a result, a lot of parents have asked me for advice for their kids, particularly, how do they become leaders? And I've never known how to answer them. There's no prescription, no formula. I can't say, swallow 5 leadership positions, inject 900 hours of community service, and keep up a healthy diet of extracurriculars, and your kid should be a leader by the end of the week. I can't say that because it isn't true. So I've been thinking a lot about this question, and although there is still no formula, I think I've boiled my answer down to 3 things that all leaders have in common. Number 1, passion. Leadership drives change, and passion drives leadership. Of all the people I've ever met, those who impressed me the most were those who were passionate in their cause. It didn't matter what their cause was, but that they cared enough to pursue the path to change the things they thought needed changing. This summer, I went to DC and I met students from across the country who are doing these amazing, mind-blowing things to help their communities. Like, I'm talking about people who had started nationwide nonprofits and did international film projects. It was awe-inspiring. While I was there, I met someone who particularly impacted me. In the middle of our conversation, I asked him, "So, what is it that you do?" And he answered, "I like fashion." What does fashion have to do with leadership? As we continued our conversation, he told me about his work with clothing and how he hoped to study it in college, and he took out his phone to show me the designs that he'd already made, and he said that he hoped to change the world with his ideas. And his eyes lit up the brightest they had in our entire conversation. And then I realized, this is his passion. This is why he's a leader. And it was beautiful. A speaker at a conference I once attended said, "No one's going to care until they know that you do." It rang true and stuck with me. It doesn't matter if you volunteer 100 hours a week, or if you do really well at math competitions. But if you live for volunteering at a hospital, if you dream about numbers and you're abacus, then you're on your way to becoming a leader. Number 2, perseverance. If you're already passionate in your cause, then perseverance should come easily to you. But it's not to be taken for granted as readily as some people may think. When you take on a project or a cause for the long haul, there are going to be setbacks, plateaus, and lulls. You will not be off playing Superman all of the time. People aren't always going to be cooperative, and sometimes your ideas will be rejected. But true leaders, rather than giving up and sinking into a month-long television stint, keep trying, keep pushing until they get the results that they want. In the spring of 2012, I began the Homeless Youth Project, where we collected hygiene and school supply items for students in Miami-Dade. It was a county-wide effort, and the most difficult thing I have ever done. I was sending and replying to a mass amount of emails every day, making phone calls, doing everything short of actually going to stalk the people with whom I was trying to work. And in the middle of it, I wanted to give up. I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to organize things. I didn't want to study. I didn't want to do any form of work. But then I asked myself why I had started the project in the first place. And I remembered my passion for change in the community where I live. And I realized that if I gave up then, I wouldn't be justified. I would be quitting. So I kept on going. The Homeless Youth Project went on to collect thousands of items. And because I persevered, hundreds of students are still going to school with the supplies that they need. Being a leader isn't a part-time job where you can take months off when you feel discouraged. It's a full-time job where you get paid with results and where the employee benefits are the best you'll ever get. Finally, number 3, leaders inspire. They pass along the torch of their knowledge and experience to others so that they in turn can become leaders. This summer, I was selected to be a Bank of America student leader. As a part of this program, I was working at a local nonprofit during my summer. This nonprofit turned out to be the Boys and Girls Club. While I was there, I got into a conversation with about 40 10-year-olds about what it meant to be a leader. I was slightly apprehensive going into the conversation. I mean, I didn't want to disappoint anybody, but what could I say to them? They were only kids. Soon, we were talking about all the inspiring things that they do every day, from donating their old clothes to being good role models for their younger siblings. We talked about paying it forward and how one good act could inspire countless others. When I left work that day, I was astounded by what I realized. I went into that conversation worried about how to teach kids to be leaders, when it turns out they already were, by inspiring people every day. Being a leader isn't about being the loudest person in a room. And to think that there's a strict dichotomy between being a leader and being a follower is false. Anyone can be a leader, as long as they have passion, perseverance, and a will to inspire. Thank you.